My name's Rubie Hart or Narissa. I use they, she pronouns. My name's Rubie Hart or Narissa. I use they, she pronouns primarily with a little bit of he sometimes sprinkled in as a treat. I am a gender fluid actor, a streamer, and a speedrunner. Used to be based in DC, but I'm actually in the process of a move to New York as we speak. I recently became a full-time streamer, which I am so honored by, and this is my submission for Games Done Quick. The primary game I speedrun is Shadow of the Colossus. I am learning other speedruns, but SOTC is hands down my favorite game of all time. The first time that I had the chance to run it actually was with you all at Fleet Fatales for GDQ. And then over the past weekend, even though I had a hand injury, I was invited back for the 20th anniversary of Ico celebration and got to run it there as well. And it was so much fun. I had a blast doing it. And being able to bring this game to the main stage of GDQ in the way that it was intended to be played in the first place, which is any percent normal. So basically the category where you play through on the regular difficulty and use all the speedrun strats that you can. It's my favorite category to run the game in, right alongside NTA Boss Rush Random and any percent normal intended. So I'll be submitting NTA Boss Rush Random as well. And I hope you enjoy it. I really would love to share this game with as many people as possible. I think the speedrun strats for it are so fun and so challenging that if people haven't had the chance to see this game in all its glory, they really should. And I would... Hi, this is my any percent normal submission. So the timer is going to start as soon as I hit the difficulty. So that'll be in 3, 2, 1, go. Amazing. So I'm going to be skipping all of the cutscenes in this run, just heads up, and I agree with you, Dave. I'm filled with determination. I'm doing this. So this is my favorite game of all time. I love speedrunning this game. I love introducing people to this game, whether they are brand new to it or they want to learn speedrun strats. So it was created by Team Ico originally, now Gen Design, by Fumito Ueda at the spearhead, essentially, who was the mastermind behind this game, along with Ico and The Last Guardian, all of which are spiritual successors of one another. So this game was originally released for the PS2, and then got an HD remaster on the PS3 that was released with the first game in the series, Ico, on a single disc. And then Blue Point Studios got a hold of it and went, but let's make it prettier. And then they did, and it's gorgeous. I freaking love this game. I already loved it before, but they just amped it up to about 50. So if you never had the chance to play this, I highly recommend, but just to give you a general idea, all of Fumito Ueda's games are very much about the implicit storytelling and the fact that you're supposed to come up with your own theories. They only give you a little bit, like breadcrumbs, as far as what the plot is, but the basic synopsis of this game is Wander, the character I'm playing as, comes to this place known as the Forbidden Land, has a dead girl with him, asks this being known as the Doorman, hey, you have the power to bring people back to life, can you help me with this girl? And the Doorman's response is, only if you kill the Colossi that my power is stashed inside of, essentially. They're sealing my power. So you don't fight any minor grunts in this game, it's only the Colossi. So most of them have different weak spots. This one has one on the ankle, because usually you climb up the architecture on his back. But by hitting those and activating this cutscene where he falls, I can actually jump onto the face, since I can move in that cutscene, and just quickly get up to the head exactly where I need to be. I'm able to land what we call a plant, which is basically a position on the Colossus where no matter how much he moves, he's not going to be able to shake me. A lot of the Colossi had that kind of placement, like I had, if you saw that Valis was moving and he wasn't able to move me, it's because I was in a plant. And then for that final stab, I used a jump stab, because for the timer that we use on the speedrun.com chart, we actually use in-game time rather than real time. The jump stab essentially allows you, rather than doing an animation with a regular stab where you go into slow motion and it kind of zooms in on that moment just to show you've slain a Colossus, well done. By doing a jump stab, it takes you directly into the cutscene, which saves you those few seconds of in-game time. So it does save you time in the long run. So we like to use jump stabs for a lot of the final hits if it's possible. It saves you about 3 or 4 seconds per jump stab you can get in. And the reason we use in-game time versus a lot of other games that use real time is this version of the game, like the PS4 version, can be played in 3 different ways, really. So it can be played on PS4, PS4 Pro, or PS5. So, unfortunately, because they all run at slightly different rates, the load times are different. So, if we used real time, anyone who has a PS5 would just make the top of the chart because the load times are so much faster. So we use in-game time because that is all the time that you have control over Wander, and it's level across the board. So that basically makes it so it's competitive no matter what system you're running with. Although we do usually also post the real time on the chart just for fun. So this Colossus that I'm coming up on to next, his name's Quadratus. So let's see, he's my boar boy. So I basically wait to skip this cutscene until after aggro calms down because it saves a few seconds of in-game time. Normally you would have to like dismount the horse and mount the horse in order to get her to not freak out and kickstart, which is the fastest way to make her run. So with this Colossus in particular, the way that you normally would beat her is by being on the ground, using an arrow, hitting her weak spot, and getting her to drop a leg. But by skipping the cutscene and jumping just from that cliff, you can actually land directly on top of her. Now, this plant is pretty hard to hit, and it looks like I did get it, so I'm really, really happy with that. And as soon as this sigil is out, I'm gonna start making my way to the butt as quickly as possible. I also, doing a stab helps cancel that animation if she starts freaking out. So that's just a little extra time save. Now for this final sigil, I'm gonna try and do what are called cycle stabs, where basically you stab the butt as quickly as possible by letting go and re-grabbing since it's on a relatively even surface. You can't do cycle stabs on all the sigils, but you can get it on some. So this one, and then there's one other Colossus named Kuramori that'll come up later where I also use cycle stabs. I like to call that jump from the cliff onto the back of the Colossus the What's Up Danger jump. If you have seen Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, you'll know that reference, but there is a beautiful and iconic moment in that movie where Miles finally gets the strength to like take a leap of faith and trust in his powers, and he leaps down, and there's this incredible shot of him falling downwards in the city skyline, but it has it in the opposite direction. So the skyline is coming down and he's going up. It's just this incredible ascending moment. And the song What's Up Danger is playing in the background. So I like to call that the What's Up Danger jump because it's just this leap of faith. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so the next Colossus I'm headed to is Gaius. So this is one of the most iconic Colossi in the run, honestly, because it not only is the Colossus that is on the cover art for the game, specifically the PS4 version, but it also just is one of the ones that I've seen the most done in fan art and art pieces in general, right alongside Valis. Both of them are in a lot of art pieces for this game. So basically Gaius is a Colossus that I call the Warrior. The reason I call him that is he is a towering soldier of a being who has a sword actually affixed to one of his arms. So what I'm going to be doing, normally to beat this Colossus with just like the intended puzzle solving the designers wanted you to use, is his armor is really brittle, and he has an arm guard that actually prevents you from climbing all the way up. Since one of his sigils is on the top of his head, you have to get up there. So normally you would have to get him to smack a metal plate with his sword in order to ensure that the armor breaks, you lose that arm guard, and then can climb up. As speedrunners, we actually want to avoid that arm guard altogether, primarily because it's something that gets in the way. We don't want to spend that extra time. So excuse me, I'm recording this at a very late time of night in my time zone, so apologies for the yawns. I'm very excited to be here, just also a very tired bean. Let's see. Okay, so, with Gaius, what I'm going to be doing instead is using a physics abuse to my advantage. So, in order to make sure that this trick happens, I can essentially place myself at the bottom of the sword, and using the physics of the sword as it goes up in the air, I can launch myself from the ground directly to his head. We'll see if I can get it. I'm pretty consistent with this trick, but it's also one of the hardest in the game, so we'll keep fingers crossed and knock on wood. Alright, let's see. If you also notice that I whistle jump a lot, that's because the fastest way to travel in this game is actually by jumping. And if you whistle or change weapons right in the middle of jumping in the air, it allows you to cancel an animation that would cause you to stumble and lose momentum. Okay, so basically what I'm doing here, I start out with the bow because there is a sigil that is currently invisible on his belly. And the more damage I take out now, the less damage I have to do later. And I need this animation of the sword going down to happen no matter what. So it looks like I got about 7 arrows in, which is great. Then by executing this series of jumps, I can get onto this ear here. And this is a trick that we call the Space Jam. So, God, that was so beautiful. I'm really, really happy with that. Now from here, I'm gonna try and get a plant on the head, just to make sure that I can get the stabs and not lose my position. It looks like I lost it for a second there, so I'm gonna try and get this placement back. All right, let's see. So that little stumble that Wander just did actually is a great indicator. That is a sign that I did land the plant, and now that the damage is taken out, I'm gonna wait for him to bring his head back, because then I can just drop directly down and get on his tummy and give him tummy scratches with love and my sword. The nice thing is, since I did all that damage earlier, I only need like a half stab still in order to take out the rest of this damage. And just like that, he is dead. Amazing. Woo! Space Jam, let's go. Okay, that's one of the hardest tricks in the game. They really do a, how do I put this? This is a really difficult speed run because so many of the Colossi, especially in the any%, have tricks that if you don't nail them exactly, then there are very few ways to get that same trick and that same animation cycle without just doing adjustments instead. Oh my gosh, I just saw that I got a raid from, oh gosh, Sugoi-chan? I hope that I'm pronouncing that correctly. Thank you so much for the raid. I really appreciate it. For those of you who may not know me, let me just give you a brief synopsis. My name is Rubie Hart. I am an actor and a streamer and speedrunner. I'm not going to be interacting with chat too much right now just because I am recording a Games Done Quick submission. So I want to make sure that I keep really focused on that, but I hope you enjoy the speedrun. I am running any% normal of Shadow of the Colossus. So the next Colossus I'm going to be heading to is Phaedra. We refer to her affectionately in the community as Baydra. So basically she is, I call her a horse, but Some people refer to her as a llama, alpaca, elk, deer, dragon, Kieran. I've heard it all. I've heard it all. So look at it, interpret what it is, and make of it what you will. This game is open to interpretation, including what animal this is. I typically say horse because I like to think that Agro and this Colossus are girlfriends, and that this is like giant woman horse. I'm very obsessed with Steven Universe, and by the way, my name has nothing to do with Steven Universe, it's just a happy coincidence. I had this gamer tag I had Rubie as part of my gamer tag well before I discovered Steven, but I love that show so freaking much. But there is a song in that show that is, all I wanna do is see you turn into a giant woman, and I just picture anytime Agro gets scared, her just screaming, a giant woman, at this Colossus. Okay, so what I'm gonna do for this fight, normally you would have to use these tunnels to basically trick the Colossus into thinking you're someplace you're not. But what I want to do instead, because that's going to take a lot of time and a lot of trickery, is once she plops down this second foot in the front, I'm going to start running towards her, and I can actually launch myself directly towards her ankle. Perfect! Okay, that was great. And once I jump to the other parts of her leg with the right timing, I can actually skip all the animation cycles I would need to like trick her and to get her to search for me and then lean down so I could grab onto this butt ladder. Now I can just get on the ankle and do it. So what I'm gonna do here next is get a little slash on her neck, because in order to get her to lower her neck to me so I can get to her actual weak spot sigil, I need to do a little stab's worth of damage and then like 3/4 to a full stab. So, oh, Wander, that was a choice you made. Did you have fun with that? That was very exciting, and it was great as far as fashion. It was good style points trick, but don't give me a heart attack like that again. I will speak to your manager. Anyway, the manager is me. I am controlling Wander. We have a rapport. Oh man. Okay, so that is Phaedra. So all you have to do is use the momentum of Agro. A lot of the speedrun strats in this game are really just physics abuses and momentum abuses. So much like with Gaius, how we use the momentum of the sword to then launch us to the head, this is using the momentum of Agro to launch you towards that back ankle. And there are a few other places where I'm going to mention, like, using the momentum or strange kinds of jumps in the game. So you'll see those as we go forward. Oh, gosh. Sometimes you gotta just stretch out. Oh, goodness. The nice thing with these little tunnels of love that take us back to the temple is it gives you a second to, like, take a breath and reset, get some water. Okay, so next Colossus we're going to be headed towards is one of the only flying Colossi in the game. One of only 2. So this would be Avion. Now, Avion is an interesting Colossus because every single one was built to be its own puzzle. And as such, if you've played Last Guardian, you know that Trico was designed to have very specific animal behaviors. And the Colossi were very much built with similar concepts in mind. So they all behave differently. They're different sizes. They have different types of speed. They hit you for different amounts of damage. So every fight is very dynamic when you're solving it for the first time. Now, the nice thing about the speedrun is once you know the right places to stand and the right distances to go in or to go to, you can actually pretty much ensure that the same thing will happen every time, so you can pull off the speedrun strats, with a few exceptions. So there were only a few instances of RNG in this run. One of them is on this next Colossus Avion, and it's on whether we get what we call an upwing or a downwing. So if I get an upwing, that's basically once I get onto the Colossus, if she lifts the wing up. If she brings it down, then I don't have as much of a chance of landing the like best optimal strat on normal. But if I get the upwing, I have a much higher chance of hitting that trick, which is called the wing drop, where you can go from one sigil and drop all the way to the other wing to get the other sigil. It's a really cool trick. We'll see if it pays off, fingers crossed. But as far as the behaviors, there are some Colossi who are huge and towering, but they move really slowly. And there are others, personally, my favorite Colossi are who I call my small boys. And they are Colossi who are much tinier than the others, but they move at insane speeds. They are very aggressive. And if they hit you, they stun lock you. And there's very little recovering from that. Let's see. Okay, so with Avion, as soon as I skip the cutscene, I'm going to jump down here and I'm going to start swimming directly towards the little platforms over here, mainly towards the left one, just because it's the closest. So in order to get this fight started, I have to make the Colossus really angry. Like, really angry. By shooting her. Again, I'm the protagonist. It does not mean I'm the hero. So, I shoot her, and as soon as that happens, I want to move to the center platform. She's going to swoop down towards me, and I can use let go regrabs multiple times. So on some Colossi, by letting go and regrabbing multiple times, you can actually get it to the point where Wander will like launch himself upwards. So we got the down wing, so unfortunately I won't be able to show off that full wing drop. But hopefully I can get a little adjusted. Oh, what? What? I mean, I didn't end up staying, but that was cool. Usually on the down wing, you can't really get to that side. That was heckin' neat. Note to self. Note to self. Is possible. Just hard. So what I'm going to do now is basically I need to get to this sigil on the other side. And the reason I do a little crawl there is when you crawl, you actually forcibly knock Wander out of a plant. The reason why I actually want to do this is getting plants on Avion is one of the only bad places to get one. Because if you have a plant on one of the wings and she does a barrel roll, that will immediately make him let go and fall down towards the ground. So this is one of the few instances where you actually do not want to be in a plant by any stretch of the imagination. Oh man, okay. My thing is, whenever I play this game, the first 5 Colossi are always the ones that stress me out the most because they're the hardest to recover from without losing several minutes of time. Now that I'm past those first 5, I can just take the rest of the run in stride, and I have recoveries for everything. So, like, I'm feeling really good about this. This is great. I'm swimming mainly towards Avion because the in-game timer is still running. So getting the Death Spaghetti to take me faster will essentially ensure that I use less in-game time since I lose control of Wander faster. We don't use any IGT in these like tunnel sections because that's loading time. Oh my gosh. Okay. Barba is next. This is going to be a fun one. Okay. So, if you are a Spanish speaker, or if you know someone Spanish speaking, they will probably be telling you right now, that means beard. So, all of the names of the Colossi, technically there are code names that the design team used for the Colossi, but they were very general, like Minotaur A, Minotaur B, Minotaur C, that kind of stuff. But someone in the fan community many years ago who helped with the Shadow of the Colossus wiki named all of the Colossi based on the lore behind them, based on the builds of them. And those names that I've been saying, like Valis, Quadratus, Gaius, and Barba, are all part of that list and are just generally accepted by the speedrun community, as well as the names. Although I also have my own nicknames for them, so, you know, but that's just a me thing. So, with this Colossus that we're headed towards, it's actually very aptly named as Barba, because the way that you normally get onto it, with the tricks, it's grass. Stop being afraid of grass. Thank you. The way that you normally get onto the Colossus is by hiding, and then getting him to lower himself, and he has a huge beard that you can basically get onto and climb up. What I'm going to do is completely different from any of that. And by the way, really quickly, why I was yelling about it's grass, you're fine. For some reason, in this version of the game, Bluepoint really wanted to make sure that people, like, appreciated the pretty parts, especially the woods in the game. So they made it that when Agro is in, like, narrow paths like that, she'll slow down. I don't want that. So we have to do kickstart animations in order to get her going at top speed again. The problem with this is when you're in the forest, there are little, like, single blades of grass. And you'll get to know the clumps if you're a speedrunner. If you kickstart, or try to kickstart Agro, while she is on top of one of those bits of grass, instead of kickstarting, she will just freak out. So the reason I was going, babe, you're fine, it's just grass, is because she was about to have a freak out, rather than actually doing what I wanted her to do. So for this fight, there are a few different speedrun strats that I could use here. So the first one is actually a cutscene skip. So for some reason, in this cutscene, if you skip it at the right moment, you can actually get yourself to land in a different place than the game wants you to. So I can use this to try and land directly on the beard rather than starting on the ground. So let me see if I can get this. And if not, there's a full backup strat that we also use in the boss rush, because we can't use this skip in the boss rush, the cutscene skip. Oh, unfortunately, so I ever so slightly missed that timing. I just went a little too late, but that's okay. So basically what we do in boss rush is grab onto this hand and then get on the wrist guard. So what I'm going to be able to do from here is use Barba's momentum of that arm motion to then launch myself onto the head. And now all I have to do is 2.5 stabs to the head, and then 2.5 stabs to the other sigil that is going to be on Barba's back. So, yeah, whenever you're done freaking out, you're just absolutely losing it right now. The really nice thing about that shake, though, that I just got, is it gave me plenty of time to get in exactly the position I want to be in. Oh, whoops! All right, come on, Barba, chill, chill, babe, 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 babe. Sometimes the Colossi just decide that they want to have no chill that day, but there we go. Okay, that's Barba. Babe! So sometimes the Colossi will shake in slightly different patterns than you're expecting. So usually I'm pretty good about canceling those, but I just got it in a second too late because I wasn't expecting it to come quite as quickly as it did that time. But that's Barba. So the cutscene skip is one that basically there is a specific line that you look for on the wall, or a little notch for some people, just depending on who is running it. They watch for a certain thing to go right underneath the crease of the ground as it's lowering. So if you are able to pause and skip the cutscene at that time, like it's pixel perfect, then you're able to launch yourself onto the beard. But if you get it just like a split second too late or a split second too early, then you end up doing what I did, which was ending up in a different place than the designers intended, but it also isn't the beard. Like, you end up too far back. Again, I used the boss rush strat, and that worked beautifully, so that was still a fantastic Barba. I'm really happy with that. The next Colossus we're headed towards is a much more tricky Colossus on normal or on any percent than it is on boss rush. So we'll keep our fingers crossed here. But I would say, I know that there were some people who were asking questions in chat earlier, and I said that longer horse ride times would be the perfect place to answer them, so this is the perfect spot for that. One of them was a question about the lore of the game. Like, what do I think the lore is behind how the Colossi got here, who the Doorman is. And again, something to keep in mind is Fumito Ueda very much wanted the storylines of these games to be left open to interpretation. So a lot of times in interviews, he will specifically make sure to not give too clear of answers, or will say, in my mind, it is this, but I would love to hear what other people have to say, but that's just my opinion. He wanted to leave these open so that the person playing the game could be a part of that storytelling process, which I really love. So my headcanon that I'm about to say is not necessarily the canon of the world or necessarily Fumito's canon. So basically my thought is that the Doorman is a deity of duality. So exists as a god of darkness and light, of man and woman, of shadow and sunshine, of evil and good. You have the fact that Doorman shines down in the temple, but then the power of Doorman in the sword is like really dark. Same with the like dark tendrils that come out of the Colossi. You have the fact that like Doorman, when speaking, speaks with a male and female voice that echo off of each other. And they use they almost like they're a collective. So I think that Doorman is this god of duality. And Wander came here basically knowing this information, knowing that the Doorman was sealed off by his people previously. And I have a whole theory about that I can explain later. But I think that Wander was like an acolyte of this religion that used to worship Doorman, but then sealed him because he was too powerful, or they were too powerful. Because if you notice, the tabard has the same sigil that figures on the Colossi. Not only for the weak spot sigils, but also in the architecture, like the actual way that some of them were built. So I think he was a lower member of this religion and was told to kill Mono. Did, even though he had a crush on her, because there's like a cutscene that's very intimate where he puts like a hand to her cheek, checking on her body. You can tell there's a bit of a romantic connection there between Wander and Mono, even if it's only one-sided. But I think that he was told to kill Mono and realized that he didn't want her to die. So yeah, that's my theory. And I'll explain more in a minute, but right now, Hydrus. So Hydrus is a Colossus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 little. So basically with this Colossus, the way you would normally take it out is by taking out all of those electric eel nodes, and then slowly making your way from the tail all the way to the head. That's too slow for me. So what I'm gonna do instead, if I can get this right, is do a series of jump stabs in the water to get her to cock her head to the side exactly like that. And once I get up here, I'm gonna go ahead and jump stab. And once I get that head cocking animation, I can just get directly onto the sigil and start doing damage. I only need to get about, I wanna say 3 more stabs, 2 more stabs. Yeah, it should be 2 more stabs. And then I'm good to go. So it's basically just glitching the Colossus, and just like that, Hydrus is dead. Oh my god, that trick in any percent is so nerve-wracking. It is so easy to miss. I'm so happy that popped off as well as it did. Yes, amazing, amazing. Woo! That's Hydrus. If you have a fear of monsters in deep water, I usually give a trigger warning before this one, and I forgot to because I got excited about lore. I'm sorry. Anyway, so lore. Sorry, I'm really happy about that Hydrus. So basically my thought is, as far as like this whole region and Wander and how everything plays into each other, is that the people of Wander's village used to worship the Dorman and used to live here. But they would kind of work together with their powers in tandem. Like, you can see in this land all of these structures that were built hundreds of years ago. Like, it must have been a fully established society. The roads are completely run down. The structures have like collapsed. So it's clearly been there a very, very, very long time. So I think that people worship the Dorman as their god, and had sacrificial rituals that were part of this like giving and taking of life, to worship the duality of the Dorman. And eventually the people decided that they wanted to do something in the Dorman's honor by making these statues of colossal beings in their temple, and also creating them as true beings in the world. So basically, much like that duality of Dorman, beings that were both material and living, both stone and organism. So that was basically what people thought, was this is a great way to like commemorate the legacy of the Dorman. And they asked the Dorman to breathe life into these creatures. But they didn't realize what the cost would be. And in order to animate these huge creatures, thousands and thousands of people had to die, and their life force was taken and put into the Colossi. And the people were outraged by this and spoke against the god, and the god was like, kind of my MO. You didn't realize this? Like, really? And they started saying that using any of the power of the Dorman was forbidden, and speaking against it. And secretly, a group of the clergy who were turning against the Dorman figured out how to perform a ritual to seal the Dorman's power away using his own creations. So they use their power, they use their magics to seal away the Dorman and its power into the Colossi. So then the Dorman was trapped in nowhere but the Forbidden Land. And I think hundreds of years passed, and they continued to use some of the same symbology, which is how these sigils come into play, but I think they now use it as like a warning rather than as a symbol of hope. That basically, if you commit certain atrocities, you will become something as corrupt as the Dorman. So yeah, that's my theory, is that Wander lived in this society that was descended from the previous people who worshipped the Dorman, and realized that he didn't believe in it, and came to face the very being that his former society rejected. Which is why the Dorman laughs and says, souls that once perished stay dead forever. Isn't that your law? Like, literally laughs at him. Alright, I'm gonna do this Colossus now. So, basically what I'm gonna do at the beginning of this fight, so this is Kuramori, my salamander boy. I'm gonna whistle to get his attention, because in this Colosseum, I want him to climb upwards and think that I am higher than I actually am. Once I go to a lower area, I can go ahead and shoot his legs that are his weak spots. I'm gonna then jump down onto the Colossus if I can land here. Here we go. And now I'm gonna do a few more cycle stabs, like I was mentioning earlier on that second. Oh, well, that sure wasn't great. So I'm gonna do a few cycle stabs to make sure that I can get this timing now that I've made it even tighter for myself. It's 2.5 stabs to each sigil. What was that, Wander? What are you doing? But just like that, Kuro's down. The reason I was panicking is I only shot him about halfway up the wall, and the higher he is, the longer he stays down. I only shot him from about halfway up the wall, so it's a very narrow window. So the fact that I got a meme stab, I was like, oh god, my timer is ticking. Which is why I was panicking about everything. But that was a super fast Kuro, we're all good. And this is actually one of the easiest ones to speedrun, even though as a casual player, I know when I first played this, because he shoots lightning that then turns into clouds of electricity that deal damage and make you die. This was one of the scariest ones for me to play as a casual player, and now that I'm a speedrunner, Kuro's a nice little fight in the middle to go, I can relax, I can breathe. Let's see. Oh god. Next up is bane of my existence, Bassarat. So this Colossus, oh god. So I see that one person said that Wander isn't actually the bad guy. He's only free an imprisoned deity who's in prison due to man's hubris. So the reason I say that Wander is still a villain in this story, or is not a hero, is I think that the Colossi, like, thousands and thousands of people died, and their souls exist within these creatures. Every time you kill a Colossus, you're not only freeing the power of a god that who knows if it was actually good or not for it to be sealed away, you're also killing innocent creatures that contain the souls of thousands of people who previously lived here. The game purposefully makes it very clear that what you're doing may not be great. Now, I know that in Fumito Ueda's version, it's a lot more of the doorman kind of rebelled and decided that he wanted to become a god, so it was a collective of people who essentially built up enough power to create themselves as gods, but then they were sealed away by people who saw him as the zealot he was. But I don't know enough about that leaked headcanon just because I've only read it once and I haven't like committed it to memory yet, even though it was really fascinating to read. Alright, Bassarat, bane of my existence. This Colossus, okay. So, with this Colossus, what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna wait for him to charge up an attack. As soon as he does, I am going to run underneath this armpit, and when he lowers like that, I can grab onto his ribs, land on the leg, and then jump. And just like that, rather than having to use geysers that you would normally have to use to get the Colossus to turn over, I can just land directly on the back of the Colossus, and that saves about 3 minutes of time of just running and trying desperately to get him to land in the right place. The next phase of this fight is basically me, let's see, whenever I can get a plant here, he's gonna start bobbing his head back and forth, just up and down like crazy. Ah! Please stop. Thank you. So he's gonna start, do you mind? He's gonna start bobbing his head up and down like crazy and will regularly shake me out of plants. But once I can get them to the halfway point, which we're at now on the health bar, he's gonna start doing shakes side to side, which is great for me because now that I've landed in the plant, I don't have to worry about him turning me upside down and completely shaking me out anymore. All I have to do is keep stabbing, and then I'm good to go. And that is Bosseron. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad. Usually this is one that I have to do a few times. That was a fantastic boss. There are two different strategies to get onto this Colossus. One is that rib strat. The other is a side launch that you can basically land on one of the legs and then get yourself to launch directly onto the head. But that one is much, much harder to pull off in any percent. I'm very good at it in boss rush, but for me, this is a far more consistent trick. So sometimes with speed runs, one of the big things you really have to keep in mind is like weighing the pros and cons of every trick. And at this point, for me personally, I know that I save a lot more time by doing that trick versus doing one that I still don't have the consistency with. But I love the side jump when it comes to boss rush. Let's see. Okay. So the next Colossus that I'm going to be heading towards is Dirge. Dirgy Dirge. Oh my gosh, I love this one. So Dirge is a Colossus that we just affectionately call basically by his own name. And unlike a lot of the other Colossi that their main weak spot is notated by the little like cracking blue spot in the fur with the blood coming out of it, with this particular Colossus, he has big eyes. Like big wide eyes. So cheers, by the way. So in order to get him to essentially stop doing what he's doing, much like with the other Colossi, you want them to stop what they're doing or lower themselves so you can get onto them, etc., etc. You have to shoot the eyes. And I'll explain more about the fight once we actually get there. But for now, I'm just gonna let you take in the scenery. The soundtrack to this game is just absolutely beautiful. And one thing that's really interesting is there aren't a lot of creatures that exist here. Like, there are no people at all. Obviously, as you can see, we haven't run into anyone. But as far as creatures, the only ones that actually exist are like the hawks that you see us passing right now. The doves, for every Colossus you kill, another dove shows up in the main temple. So you'll see progressively more and more doves. Oh, hey, Dan! Thank you so much for the raid. How are you doing? So for those of you who may not know me, I'm just going to give a quick little thing. Hi, my name's Rubie. I am a actor, streamer, and speedrunner, and my main game that I speedrun is Shadow of the Colossus, and right now I'm actually in the process of recording GDQ submission videos. So just heads up that I'm not going to be interacting with chat quite as much as I usually do, but if you have questions about the game or the lore or anything like that, please feel free to hit me with those. I would be more than happy to answer those questions. But right now I want to make sure that I keep this a really solid run. So I am headed towards Colossus number 10. So this one, now that we're much closer, is a little sandworm. Oh wait, let me finish the thought, sorry. So the other creatures that exist in the land are on the way to Kuramori. They're actually some little fishies. Oh my gosh! Hey! How's it going, Tomstar? It's so good to see you! So let's see. So there are lizards in this land, there are fish, and then I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think just aggro. And then the Colossi. That's really it. Alright, so this Colossus is a big sandworm. So the way I'm gonna have to take this one out is the weak spot is actually its eyes. What I'm gonna do is basically make sure that I can get Dirge to line up right behind me And as soon as that happens, I can launch an arrow into his eye. So that's just gonna take a second here. Bullshit. Come on. Hello. There we go. Okay. So it took 3 arrows, but now all I need is once Dirge hits a wall, he's gonna stop, and I'm gonna launch myself because even though I can't control Wanderer's direction right now, he is still running, so that does put me closer. Now, this is one of the Colossi where knowing the amount of steps is really important because I want to do a 1 cycle. I don't want to completely take out this sigil because then he'll go back under the sand, so I'm going to do 1, 2. Oh, I overstepped! Oh no! Oh no! Okay, hang on. So here's what happened there, unfortunately. So if you overstab on a sigil, for one that basically you want to get a 1 cycle on, it causes the Colossus to go back under the sand or back in the air. It essentially resets all of its animations, so you have to kind of restart the fight. So it just makes it a little bit longer. So it's just something that I try to avoid if possible. That was just unfortunate. I just miscounted that timing by a little bit. It's very, very specific timing. Let's see. Give me your eye. Oh, come on. Thank you. Babe, come on. We're better than this. We both are. You and me both. It's a team effort, baby. All right, let's go. All right, here we go. Okay, so first sigil is done. Let's see. Okay. And now all I have to do is take out this second sigil and I'm good to go. So again, didn't get the 1 cycle, so lost about a minute, but honestly, there are worse time losses in the world. I'm not super concerned about it. That one's a fine recovery. Let's see. Yeah, that's fine. It's not a giant time loss, so. I have a question. Okay, where does Wanderer keep his arrows? In the magical video game pack that every video game protagonist has, where they reach to the side and then suddenly arrows appear. That is the answer to your question, Zelcade. I hope you enjoyed it. All right, let's see. Oh, okay. We have an extremely fun one. This is the first of my 2 small boys coming up next. So, the pocket TARDIS. Oh, I like that. Yes, it's a tiny pocket TARDIS. So, this next Colossus is Celosia, who actually, we have a dog that is named Celosia. So if you ever happen to hear dog barks, hopefully not this late in the night, but if he ends up being awake, it's probably him. So this Colossus is one of the few Colossi that is very tiny, so maybe only 3 or 4 times Wander's size versus 15 to 20. So with this particular Colossus, he is small, he's agile. If he hits me even once, it's going to stun lock me, and that loses me time. And getting out of the range of one of them, like one of the 2 small boys, is extremely hard to do. So what's gonna happen essentially with this fight is the only way you can really break his armor, because he has armor all across his body, including his back, which is what we need to get to. So I need to find a way to break that armor, essentially, since he is but a small bean. So the way I'm gonna do that is one very interesting trick with this Colossus is he is in it almost looks like a ritual-esque area with a bunch of different flaming torches and almost an altar kind of area. So what you realize when fighting this Colossus is he's afraid of fire. He's just a small heckin' boy who really, really is scared of the big shiny fire. So the way that you normally defeat this Colossus is by getting a torch, swinging it in front of his face, and he backs up and goes, oh dearie me, oh no, I don't like that. But the great thing about this fight is there's actually a way to expedite that to get him to fall off the cliff faster. So I'll explain it when we actually get to the fight. It won't make much sense until you see it in action. But I will do my best to explain it in time with the fight. And let's hope that she doesn't, like, yeet me off the cliff. Also, heads up, you probably heard me switch between he, she, they, it for all the different colossi. I just assume they're as gender fluid as I am. There's no established gender for them, so why not? Alright. I'm gonna fall down this cliff. Why? Because it's fast. And because I want to. Cool. Alright, that just puts me in the arena a little bit faster. And now that I'm here, I want to go to the activation point for the fight, which is right over here. As soon as that happens, I'm going to skip the cutscene, and I have my hand open because I want to make sure that I can grab the stick as soon as it falls. So I'm going to make sure I'm right up here, and when Celosia runs, I'm going to jump over her head, and that is going to drop the stick right in front of me. Now I'm able to grab the torch, but as soon as you grab it, it unlights, so you have to go to the second area. Now, what I'm going to do is, as long as you're holding the torch, Celosia's programming is telling her, oh, I'm afraid of you, you're scary, you have fire. But if you quickly pick up and drop the torch, that pulls her closer to the edge, because once you're not holding it, she goes, oh, you're not scary, screw that, I can take you, you're just a little human. All right. Oh, cool, I landed in exactly the place I want to be. Amazing. So from here, I can actually just land directly on top of the Colossus, get the plant, and I only need to do 2 stabs on this small bean, and just like that, she's dead. Their pronouns today are just, they're all heckin' good boys. Not all heckin' good boys, but this one's a heckin' good boy. I like this boy. Oh, gosh. Oh. Beautiful bean. Beautiful, beautiful bean. That was a beautiful fight. And now we're headed towards another one of the hardest fights in the speedrun. So, hold on to your hats. And if you have any gods you pray to, now would be the time for me. So, this game is extremely sad. I was actually talking about a little bit of the lore and some of my theories earlier, but every single time I play it, I just, the fact that it's so gorgeous, design-wise, storytelling-wise, soundtrack-wise, it's just an incredible game. I really can't get enough of it. Which is, you know, why I speedrun it. Okay, so I'm pulling out my bow. The next Colossus I'm headed to is, let me see, is Pelagia, is her name. So, Pelagia is a Colossus that I refer to as the dentist. And I'll explain a little bit more when we get there, but this actually, the further you get in the game, the farther the travel times are to each Colossus. So I've got a little bit of downtime here. Let me see. But like, how could you not be in love with a game that makes beautiful things like that? There's actually a park I used to go to in Virginia, or actually in Maryland side, I think. Yeah, I think it's actually Maryland, called Great Falls Park. Maybe it's Virginia. I can't remember. Somewhere in that general DMV area. But Great Falls Park looks very similar to that. Just beautiful area with these like falls and rocks and canyons. It's just, it's absolutely exquisite. If you ever happen to be in that area and are looking for something to see, Great Falls Park, highly recommend. It's beautiful, truly. And you can really go any time of year, and it will still be just as exquisite. Okay, so I'm making my way through a mini forest. This is not the 17th Colossus Forest, as we affectionately call it, but it is a annoying forest. Much easier to navigate, though, because all I have to do is go right. Just get through the trees. Please get through the... Come on. babe. The trees and the grass are not scary. You are so much bigger than them. You can take it. I believe in you. Okay. So, let me see. Okay. Okay. So, Pelagia, who we're headed to behind this beautiful waterfall. This Colossus I refer to as the dentist because the very interesting trick with this Colossus is when you fight her, the trick to defeating her is essentially making sure that you can get her to lift her body up because her sigil is on her stomach that you can't reach so long as her body is half submerged in water. So what you have to do is there are these gazebos that you want to get her to put her body on top of. However, in order to do that, you have to get her there. The way you get her there is there are teeth that sit on top of her head, which is absolutely insane, and I've heard some incredible theories about that. And basically what you want to do is if you hit those teeth that are on the face or on the head, you can get her to go that direction based on the teeth that you hit. It's a fascinating fight. It took me so long to figure it out the first time I played, but I love it so much. One of the theories I heard about this particular fight that I have accepted as my headcanon, I love it, is that Pelagia is not actually full. So if you notice, unlike all the other colossi that have fur, she has grass everywhere. So someone theorized that the top part of her body was cut off. And I love that personally. So what I'm going to do here is when I see her take the right animation. Oh, no. Okay. Well, okay, she decided not to behave, unfortunately. So here's the thing. You know how I said earlier that there's not a lot of RNG in this game? So some of the RNG is the Avion wing up or wing down. The rest of the RNG of this game is just whatever Pelagia decides to do. It's a Tuesday. She chose chaos. It's actually a Friday. I don't know what I'm talking about. Usually you can actually get onto her head much faster by like jumping onto it using the beautiful thing that we call magnet hands with Wander, where if he's close enough to a ledge to hit it, or to grab onto it, but not quite, the game will say, oh, I help, and get you there. But I missed that jump. What I did there was you can actually do like a animation cancel of that launch of fire by just grabbing onto her face at the right time. Now I need to do precision stab, so I'm gonna do one full stab, a 95% stab, awesome, and then 2 more full stabs, and this should be a 1 cycle. Yes! Oh my god! Yes! Okay, that is one of the hardest tricks to hit in the game. I'm so happy with that. Yes! Heck yes. Cheers. Cheers, Pelagia. Woo! Oh my god! Yes! Whew, I don't know. Okay. Hang on. I'm trying to think through all the colossi. I didn't get a 1 cycle on Dirge. Literally every other Colossus I have gotten first try, no problem. I'm gonna knock on wood, but this might be on PB pace. Like this actually might be on PB pace. I love it. That's amazing. Oh man, I'm gonna wait for that good IGT, and I'm gonna keep just doing my thing, but that is a potential, so fingers crossed. Knock on wood. All right, so, oh my god. Next Colossus. So we're in the final 4, and all of these fights are really fun and really fascinating in different ways. But also, like, 12 is the last fight that really makes me just clench every muscle in my body. After this, there are things that can go wrong, for sure, but I feel a lot more confident about the fights from here on out. than some of the other ones in between. So I love it. I love this. So we're headed towards the other flying Colossus in this game, Phalanx. So for this Colossus, the big trick is, unlike Avion, who the moment I shot her, she was like aggressive as heck, this Colossus is the only true pacifist in the game. No matter what you do, she will never attack you. So this is the moment where if you didn't feel bad about killing the Colossi before, usually when playing this game, you do at this point. Because she literally did nothing wrong. Like, it was just hanging out in its arena. It was just hanging out, minding its own business, and you came in and started shooting her. But that's exactly what I'm about to do, so oops, sorry. So the sky snake, the balloon boy, as people are calling it in chat. I used to call him my flying sand snake, but I like sky snake. That's really nice. I really like that soul mask. So the way that this Colossus works is he flies because he has 3 different air sacs on his belly. So what I'm gonna need to do is basically get to this center platform down here to activate the fight, and as soon as that happens, I'm gonna pull out my bow and just take out every single one of those air sacs. That way she lowers enough for me to mount her wings and get on top of her to hit each of the sigils. So let's see how it goes. All right. All right, 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Okay, that's all 3 right out the gate. So what she's gonna do is probably curve around this rock and then go right. So I'm gonna go ahead and just follow alongside her. Usually I would go to the other side of the rock, but I actually got here early enough in the cycle that I might be able to catch up with her pretty easily here. Yeah, so what I do here is, miss and jump between the wings, apparently? I'd like to not do that, please. That would be great. Oops. All right, so one thing is, even in a boss rush of this, you don't want to reset the fight. It's faster to honestly just catch up again. So take 2. There we go, much better. Okay, so what I'm gonna do for this fight is, once I actually get to the top, all of her sigils have these beautiful panels of terror on top of them. Because if you overstab on a sigil, not only will she start doing barrel rolls, but, so I do 1.9 stabs on each of these sigils rather than the full 2. That way she doesn't do the barrel rolls, and I have a little bit more time before those panels close. If those panels close, I'm doomed. I lose 2 minutes of time, she's gonna go under the sand, and I'm not gonna get the 1 cycle that I'm hoping for. So, let me see, this should pay off. Right, fingers crossed. Sometimes I make duck noises, it's fine. Okay, 1 stab and jump stab, there we go. Okay, that's a 1 cycle phalanx. So the first little jump I missed, but that was maybe a 15-second time loss, 20-second time loss. I'm not super concerned about it. Don't forget the hidden force sigil. Oh my gosh. There was a speedrunner in the community, Stocky, who actually, when I did the Team Ico 20th anniversary, was my commentator. He's a fantastic speedrunner of this game, just a great guy all around. There was one day that he was playing this Colossus, and he skipped the 3rd sigil, and for some reason went too far back and jumped right off the back of the Colossus, because we have those leaps of faith that we do going backwards. So we started calling that the hidden 4th sigil. And now we're headed to my bestest boy, my favorite boy. Let's go. Okay, so the next Colossus actually is a lot of travel time, so I'm not even gonna worry about explaining it right now, just because we have so much time leading up to it. It's gonna take a bit to get there. However, we are gonna be able to pass Bassaran's body. This is the part of the game where it really drives home that, like, what you're doing might be bad, because not only did you just kill a completely pacifist Colossus, it literally did nothing wrong, but then in order to get to this Colossus, the fastest route takes you past the corpse of a different Colossus that you already defeated. So we get to just go past the corpse of Boss and wave hi to it as we pass by. There's actually one thing just as fun lore of the game. If you look down at that beach, a lot of people say that looks very similar to the beach in the end of Ico. If you've ever had the chance to play the game. And some people theorize that the place he washed up was that beach in Shadow of the Colossus. So he, like, ended up in the Forbidden Land. So I personally love that theory. I think it's great. I would hydrate Selkade, but I just ran out of water, unfortunately. So cheers, but I can't do much about that right now. All right. Another fun fact, all of these shrines that you see across the landscape are designed to be many versions of the temple. Apparently, according to Fumito's canon, if I remember correctly, they were built basically by the people as a way to mock doormen for their sacrilege, which I find really fascinating. That they're apparently these, like, mocking statues when they appear to be holy. I'm just gonna, for good measure, just to make sure you're really dead. All right. Okay. Ah! Nothing happened. It's fine. I did not just accidentally hit a weird curve. There are sometimes extra rocks in this game that Agro will just freak out at that you don't realize are there until she hits one. So. Oh my god. Okay, now is a good time to start explaining it. Now that we've passed Bassaran's body and given the general tour, we are headed towards my favorite Colossus, my good guard dog boy, Cenobia. So, Cenobia is basically a bulldog. He's a big cage on the front of his nose, and he has a little city that he's doing a good heckin' protect of. So he really just wants to be there and protect his city, and I'm coming in here to wreck his day. So the way that this fight works is there are a bunch of pillars that stand all across the city, and you essentially have to get him to topple them one by one. So you get him aggroed, he hits a pillar, it falls, it creates a path for you, rinse, repeat. And you do this with several pillars that dot the entire landscape. With the speedrun strats, we're actually going to completely surpass all of that pathing and just go to the final pillar in order to get the armor to drop onto Cenobia's back and get access to the sigil, since this is another one of the two small boys. So this is another Colossus that is very tiny, moves very quickly, is very aggressive. So I have to move quickly in this fight. But I love him so much. He's my good boy. Okay, here we go. And again, it gives you one of these beautiful water reprieves. To just... Are you having a stressful day fighting Colossi? Here's a serene little pool. Now go kill a Colossus. Thanks, pool. Okay, so there are 3 different strats that are extremely important in this fight. 2 of them are possible ways to get to the final pillar. So the super jump and the kaze jump. So depending on if one goes off well, I may do that one, or I may end up having to do the other. And then the second is called the wacky jump. So I'm going to explain what those are in time with the fight. That's just the way that works best and will make the most sense. So, let me go up here. And you can see him. There he is. There he is. He's right there. Hi, honey. Okay, let's go. So, as soon as the fight starts, I'm turning and booking it. Because again, very fast, very aggressive boy. I want to make this jump across the pits. That one is a harder jump to make than you may expect. You have to be like right on the edge of the previous ledge. And then what I'm going to do is this final pillar. If you hit the jump button fast enough while jumping towards it, you can do... come on. I was hoping to do a big climb. Ah, there we go. Big climactic thing. Super jump. That's the super jump. So if you hit the jump button fast enough in succession, back to back, then you can get Wander to basically just launch directly upwards. Cenobia's already hit it once of his own volition. So I'm just going to hit him once more for good measure of RNG. And the wacky jump is I'm going to try and jump between these to land on a piece of the wall that kind of hangs out. Yep, and I was able to get there. So I'm able to get over here much faster rather than having to worry about the ladder that you normally would have to run to and desperately try and make sure you avoid Cenobia while getting to. Now that Cenobia's knocked this down, that was a beautiful Cenobia. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so now that Cenobia's down, I'm going to, the armor is going to be taken off her back, and I'm going to just get on her back. As soon as I'm in the plant, I can just deal that damage all the way home. Okay. And I think that puts me directly in a plant, actually. I think I landed it. Yes! Amazing. I love the jump stabs that go into a plant. That's incredible. Okay. Incredible. Incredible. That was beautiful. Wow. Mwah. 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 Well done. Yes. Okay. We've only got 2 more to go, fam. We've only got 2 more. Okay. Awesome. Whew. The final 2 Colossi are 2 fights that basically take the culmination of everything that I've done up to this point and puts it all together. So, the one that I'm going to be headed to next, I refer to as the champion. It is a fight that, with the intended strats, if I were doing this the way that the designers wanted me to, not only would I need to use the architecture to my advantage, so getting the Colossus to stomp and break different things in order to make a path for me, like would have happened on several of the other fights. But on top of that, I have to get him to drop a weapon. And not only do I have to hit a sigil on his head, but he has one in one of his hands that you literally cannot access, unless you're a speedrunner like me, without getting the sword out of his hand. So with this Colossus, what I use basically for the fight are a mix of magnet hands, and I'll break down what that means because I know I mentioned it briefly earlier, and physics abuse. So, magnet hands, as I mentioned before, and I'll go into a little bit of depth now so that when I say it in the fight, it makes sense. If you are going towards an object or past an object, and you're close enough to it that the game wants you to grab onto it, but you're not quite there, it will just go boop, and pop you onto it. So you'll see Wander kind of go yoink and just magnet into it. So his wonderful magnet hands are sometimes the things that save you. A lot of times if I'm teaching people how to speedrun this game, I'll say, when in doubt, just hold grab. When in doubt, hold grab. Because sometimes you never know when it's actually going to help you with staying on the Colossus. So that's one of the things I'm going to be utilizing in this fight is magnet hands. which is actually very, very important. The other is, much like how I mentioned with Bosseron, there are some times where you can side jump in this game, and rather than sending you a logical direction, like to the side, it'll just yeet you as far as it can in a random direction. So with this particular Colossus, if you do a side jump during one of his walking animations, you can get yourself to launch directly up to the top of his head. So I'm gonna see if I can make that work. Let me see. Fingers crossed. This is a really cool fight if it goes well, but it's also a very easy one to mess up. So, phew. Yeah, like if you name it, Argus has basically everything culminated into a single fight as far as the speedrun strats are concerned. Like, it's kind of insane. Precise jumps, AI manipulation. All right. I'm gonna do a lot of lovely weapon switching, whistling. Just a lot of this for a minute. This is a very long run. And by that I mean the literal running up to Arcus, since you can't take the horse beyond this point. But it does give you the scope of this arena and just how insanely large it is. Like, look at this place. It's so gigantic. I have to wonder if he was like a fighter or a guardian or what. Oh god, love it so much. Okay, so Oh, also, reason I had the hand out rather than the sword, if you actually hit the stab button while the hand is the thing equipped, it causes you to pull out your sword faster. Fun fact. So what I'm gonna do here is make sure that I get him to stomp the foot that I want him to. So I'm gonna quickly pop over there and then make sure that I jump onto this leg. Now, by pretending I want to jump past that arm, but I don't actually try and aim towards the arm, I can use those magnet hands to then get into the hand just above the sword. So I don't actually have to knock it out at all. Then I'm gonna place myself here so I can get that animation again, but this time I'm going to go to the right side, and now I'm gonna try and do those jumps to physics manip. So wish me luck. Yeah, there we go. Okay, incredible. And I think, oh no, I thought I had a plant there. That's unfortunate. All right. I typically don't re-grab the plants too quickly on this Colossus, solely because when he's vertical like that, I have had times where Wander has accidentally decided he wanted to jump stab directly towards the ground. And that, you know, maybe isn't great for the, like, going fast thing that I like to do. Okay, cool. Woo! There we go. First try. First try. Oh, hi, Sky. Did you want to... Oh my god, you're sitting so nice. You just wanted to come and see me do the run. Well, hey everyone, for the final Colossus, I have a friend who came to wish me luck. I'm really quick just gonna take you over to see her. This is Sky. She's an adorable Shiba Inu, and I adore her. She is elegant. Her paws, her face. Yes, there we go. Yeah, I just realized she like just came in and sat down, and she's being such a good girl. Do you want to sleep with me tonight? Are we gonna... Do I get puppy cuddles tonight? I love it. Okay, so now that I have the blessing of Sky upon me, I better do well on this final fight. Fingers crossed. Let's see. Okay, so I am headed to the final Colossus, Malice. Aptly named. Very aptly named. This is probably the longest ride in the game, I think. Like, the longest travel time. Because literally, if you look on the map super fast, I'm going all the way south. Just all the way to the bottom of the map. So, let's see. What I'm gonna do, first off, I just want to make sure that I have my sword equipped. I usually make sure that I have the weapon equipped that I need for the fight well in advance, just to make sure that once I'm in the fight, I'm not panicking to switch weapons. So I want to make sure I have the sword because there's a gate that can only open with the sword's light. So I'm gonna be making my way south. I've called this Colossus the tallest boy for years, mainly because, in the show Invader Zim, which I loved when I was growing up, the leaders of their society, like this alien society essentially, are decided by just which one of them is tallest. And there are two who are the same height. So seeing this one just made me think of the tallest, and I always got a laugh out of that. Alright, let's see. One thing that is really nice about this travel is like you get these beautiful sweeping prairies. And personally, I have a headcanon that thousands and thousands and thousands of years later, this place, the Forbidden Land, turns into the land from Journey, because just saying. The cliffs. Just saying. But yeah, so we're headed towards my heckin' tall boy. Oh, also, for no reason related to this game, if you happen to have any triggers related to animals dying, for no reason whatsoever, that has anything to do with this game, I just want to reassure you that the animal that may or may not appear to die, theoretically, in this hypothetical scenario, the animal that looks like it might be dead, I can assure you, does not actually die. You will see them in the end credits. No relation to the game. None whatsoever. Just in case, you know. Just wanted to put that out into the universe. Alright, let's see. Yeah, okay. Fine. If that's how you want to be. Boop. And now, we're gonna be hitting, you'll hear me say unskippable cutscene a lot. This is the first of many that are coming up in the next sequence. They really wanted to make sure that you understood you're getting towards the end. Things are climactic now. What? Agro! What do you do? Babe, what are you doing? We gotta go in. We gotta go in there. I know you don't want to. I know, but you gotta go in the big door. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Here we go. Hey, Akro. Hey, buddy. You see this nice bridge? Do you see this nice bridge? It's totally fine. Nothing. Oh, God. Oh, God. Everything has gone wrong. Oh, God. Oh, no. Oh, no. And now, this is a tradition in the community. Agro, we salute you. Thank you for everything you have done for me and for this run and for many other speedrunners who played this game. I adore and appreciate you. You're a very good girl. Even if the programmers of this game and sound designers decided that the only horse noises they wanted to use were noises of horses in pain, which is very unfortunate. All right. Let's see. Okay, here we go. So now I'm going to switch to the bow, because for this fight, I'm going to need to make sure that that is my primary weapon that is out. Let me see. This point is just a little bit of platforming getting up to this final Colossus. But to basically break down a little bit of this fight before we get there, because it's very complex, the way that the designers wanted you to fight this fight is by going through a series of insane bunkers and using barriers to dodge, because he shoots heat-seeking missiles. So, you know, not terrifying at all in any way, shape, or form. But we need to dodge those. So people have actually found a path. Incredible speedrunners before me, who I then learned from. They basically found a path that you can run where even without having the barriers, you can dodge most, if not all, of the shots from Malice. So I don't know why I just switched to hand. I guess that was just an anxiety thing. Let's see. Let's hope I don't get tic-tacked. Wish me luck. And... okay. So what I'm going to do here is as soon as I see the fire shot charge in his hand, I'm going to cut left so it hits that pillar. Now I should be able to run straight without getting hit for a little bit. Here, I'm going to go ahead and... oh, I was going to roll, but I guess Wander wanted to jump or something. Not quite what I was going for there, bud. Not quite what I was going for. You just made this more difficult on me, my friend. All right. So I'm basically going to be desperately rolling forward to try and get behind this without getting hit. Okay, so I've got one more hit in me, but I'm close enough that I should be able to do this, okay? Yep, okay, we're good. So, now that I am up here... oh, that was a close one. Wander, why did you jump instead of roll? I know, because I did improper inputs, but I'm still going to blame it on you. Okay, so... basically what I was able to do there is once you're up above the points that it expects you to be, he only shoots up to a certain point. After that, you're Gucci. You can run up there as much as you want as long as you stay close enough to the wall, because he thinks that you're lower than you actually are. Now what I'm going to be able to do is climb up the Colossus. So this bit is just a little bit of platforming. While I navigate the Colossus. It's the culmination of everything we have previously learned. I'm keeping the bow out here because rather than using all the different weak spots it wants you to use, of going from the back to a hand, to a shoulder, to another hand, to another shoulder, I'm actually going to just hang out right here. And shoot the arm well before. And once I climb up here, I can actually land exactly where I want to go when he lowers his arm. So I want to be on this second rung because when Malice raises his hand to look at me, I can use that momentum to push me onto his head. And now it's just a matter of me getting to the plant and stabbing it all the way home. We're not at time yet. We've still got a little bit after this, but this is the final Colossus, so... oh my gosh, okay. Come on. Please, please, please. Yes! Okay. There's Malice. Oh my god. Whew! I want to see the game time. I want to see the IGT on this. Oh my god, this might be PB. I don't know. I don't remember what I did wrong on my PB. I don't know. Oh man. Woo! Oh my god, thank you so much.
Congrats. You did it.
Thank you, Zelcade. I really appreciate that. That means the world to me. That was a fantastic run. I'm so happy with that. I mean, I had the little bit of panic on Dirge just because I didn't get a 1 cycle, but that's not that big a time loss. Like, all of the time losses I had on this run were so minor. Like, they weren't full minute, 2-minute losses. That was amazing. I'm so happy with that. Thank you so much for the sub. I really appreciate that, Thomas. So for this final section, what I'm going to be doing is basically going to the upper right-hand corner. So if you're wondering how we got from point A to point Z of me being Wander and now suddenly being this, you'll just have to play the game to find out. I'm not even going to worry about explaining it right now. It's too complicated. But I'm really quick. It's tradition to Vape Nation. We must blow fire. We have the ability to blow fire. We must use it. But basically what we do as the speedrun strat here is just chill. They're going to attack you no matter what, but the longer you attack back and hit them repeatedly, the longer they're going to stick around. So
Vape Nation.
You want to make sure to stick around just this corner as long as possible. And then when I get control of Wander again, it's going to put me in the right place. I don't need to worry about going anywhere closer to them. All right. And that's time. I want this IGT. Okay, I'm going back through the Colossi in my head. I'm going back through. So, Valis was really solid. Quad was really solid. Gaius was really solid. A little stumble, but it was like a second or two loss. Then, let me see. Oh my god, is that a hype train? Holy crap. Okay, we're on track for a hype train, y'all. That's incredible. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate that. Oh my god, I'm so curious to see this. Let's see. Phaedra was really awesome. I can't remember. I think I got the downwing and had like an okay Avion this time, if I remember correctly. If I remember correctly. Then Barba, I didn't get the cutscene skip, but I did get everything else really, really solidly. Hydrus was first try. Kuramori, first try, easy. Easy game for babies. Bassaron, Ribstrat, first try. Dirge, I did have to redo, or I did get the 2 cycle there, unfortunately. Celosia was solid. Pelagia was solid. Phalanx, I jumped through once, but that's super minor. Zenobia, I got the super jump, and that was solid, and I got wacky. I got first try Argus. And Malice, I got hit a few times, but otherwise was... I really want this in-game time. I really, really want this in-game time. I'm so curious. That was an incredible run. I mean, for those of you with the GDQ reviews, or whatever else, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the run. I hope you'll consider bringing me in for Awesome Games Done Quick. Since I started speedrunning, has been a dream of mine to be in one of the major Games Done Quick events. I know that the first time that it goes back to in-person once the world is safe again and not insanity, I will be there whether I get in or not, but I will be there in person. I definitely want to come and just see all the incredible talent in the room. But being able to represent the Team Ico Speedruns community, who has been so incredible people are constantly trading tricks and speedrun strats, and I'm so grateful to be a part of it. Sancho Panda is another speedrunner in the community who's actually teaching me how to run Ico, who I just saw pop in the chat. Hi, Sancho. And he and I actually have a duet that he wrote basically as a parody of Me and My Shadow called Me and My Agro. And that's something that if I were to do this run, I afterwards during the credits would absolutely want to play that with him. It's very cute and very fun. And yeah, just I'm extremely grateful to be a speedrunner of this game, to be part of an amazing community, as amazing a community as the Team Ico Speedruns community is. And I would be honored to be able to represent this game and be a femme speedrunner showing what I got. That's me. And now I'm gonna get a refill on water because I'm freaking out. I'm gonna leave you all for a minute so I can get some water and a snack with this reveal. So I'll be right back. Okay, it looks like we, what time are we hoping to beat here? Let's see. Oh, I actually should check that. And it looks like we had a successful level 1 hype train. Thank you all so much. That is so sweet of you, and I really appreciate the love and support for the channel and what I do here. I words cannot express, seriously. I, earlier this year, was given the opportunity to start streaming full-time and performing full-time, and I love it. And we literally are in the process of a move, as in, like, we're packing up the trailer and finally going to the house with the studio space this weekend. Right now I'm technically on vacation from streaming for a few weeks. I just used today because I wanted to make sure that I could get in my submission. I'm so happy that I was finally able to get that out. Oh my god. What reward dessert did I grab? So actually, I realized I had a little cup of mac and cheese in the fridge. So I microwaved that. And I'm gonna eat my little cup of mac and cheese. Yeah, the move is finally happening. So for those of you who may not have been here before when I gave this update, so we've been waiting on this move for a while, but there was a whole mess with lawyers and all this stuff and da-da-da-da. But Stephen, Nay, and I are all moving to the New York property, to the house. So it has a full outbuilding with several rooms that we're going to be using as studio space. I'm finally going to have room to set up, including, hey, thanks to y'all who helped me crowdfund my computer, like Sapphire, I'm going to be able to start using her and have an actual gaming rig rather than just using the laptop that I've been streaming from, which is so incredible to me. I'm so excited for it, so thank you so much. And yeah, I'm extremely pumped about the move, about streaming more with Steven, creating things. Like, I want to make YouTube and TikTok content, and there's like a few other projects brewing in my head. One of them is like trying to get the rights to perform a podcast musical if I can. I have a particular one in mind, but I don't know if that'll ever happen. We'll see. But yeah, I really want to make these things happen, and I'm really excited to do it. So I'm gonna have a bite of this while we wait for this IGT. Oh my god, the mac and cheese was a good move. Oh god, Panera mac and cheese is so good. Just, can we talk about that for a minute? So the time we're aiming to beat, let's take a look. I haven't looked at my PBs in so long. Holy crap. Stand by. So, okay. For Shadow of the Colossus 2018, any percent normal. My PB previously was 1 hour, 8 minutes, and 49 seconds. So 1:08:49. Let's see if this beats it. 1:08:49. And I haven't watched that run in a while, so I legitimately don't even remember what went right and what went wrong in that run. Like, I don't know. I can't compare it in my head. Oh god. Keep your fingers crossed for me, fam. Oh my god. Please, please, please. Taking another bite. Yeah, that was a heck of a run, but this might be it. I don't know. I don't know for a fact. But pray to RNGesus, fam. Thank you, Bookish. You're one step ahead of me. Can I lower my arms now? I can't feel my hands. Yes. Please lower your arms. I can only imagine how painful that must be. But thank you for raising your hands for your Thempress. I appreciate it. God, if I get in and someone makes a donation saying a donation for the Thempress, I would appreciate that so much. I take all those beams of light where the different colossi had been. Yep. So when you kill the colossi, the beams of light show onto their corpses, basically. Okay. Who? Come on. PB. Please. Please, PB. Please. I would love nothing more. Okay. Rip it off. That's a 2-minute PB. What? Wait, where does that put me? What? Oh my god. I beat Plush. Oh my god. I just got 9th back.